What's going on YouTube? JT Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about DC versus Vampires, issue number 9 of 12. Only a few more issues left in this, and also All Out War. I prefer the main series over All Out War. But DC vs. Vampires continues to deliver a very entertaining series. I actually kind of want to go back and read the whole thing from the get-go at some point, and just see how it all collects in maybe a big trade or something like that. Maybe I'll pick that up when it's all kind of said and done and all the issues and tie-ins are kind of all together and then kind of formed into one to see how it's all written and put together. But I think it makes for a very entertaining story. What I like about DC versus Vampires is you never know who's going to turn, who's on whose side. There's a lot of stakes and suspense. I feel more stakes and suspense in this story than I do Dark Crisis. Granted, Dark Crisis is part of a main DC ongoing, so that's like destined to go on forever and ever. This is an Elseworld storyline, and it's got a limited bit of space. It's never going to go on forever, although maybe it'll connect because isn't everything kind of canon in some fashion. But this one's written by James Tynion and Matthew Rosenberg. Boy, 2 Matthew Rosenberg issues in one today. This and Task Force C. Art, of course, by Otto Schmidt and some other people. But what I liked about this story is you get to showcase all the different characters throughout the DC universe right now, seeing some of their vampires. Oliver Queen is off kind of doing his like one-man reign of terror thing right now, taking out everyone in sight. He wants to kill Dick Grayson. Everybody wants to kill Dick Grayson. And then you have Kara on that, and Steel and Black Manta trying to get to Australia so that way they can get Kara into the sun. That way she can be better utilized, because she is kind of like the secret weapon. She's one of the last keys to saving the world, because the vampires have utilized Weather Wizard and blocked out the sun and all that stuff. Basically, like, this is an apocalyptic world where vampires have pretty much taken over, and it's really tough to stop this batch of vampires, including Vampire King Dick Grayson, which I still think makes for an interesting villain in the storyline. Yes, I mean, it's tough to see a hero that you love go bad, but I'm like, you know what, Dick Grayson's always kind of the good guy. I don't mind seeing him in an Elseworld storyline kind of take on the role of the bad guy a little bit. I think that makes it a little bit more exciting. But Aquaman and that kind of shows up too. We got the outskirts of Gotham City, the various characters trying to get in. We get some cameos from Cole Cash in that too. Like I said, a lot of good stuff. Really good artwork here. The colors really pop and the action's pretty intense. And then there's kind of a nice surprise here where we find out that Mira's been in the Black Manta suit. How that came to be, I don't know. But it does make for something really cool. And, of course, one of the Wonder Twins is there as well. But a lot of stuff, a lot of different moving pieces throughout the storyline. You're left kind of ambiguous with the fate of some of the heroes by the end of it. And I'm sure some will make it out okay, but I don't know how this storyline's going to end. And I like the fact that it keeps me guessing. Then the other characters in Gotham City are trying to make their way in when they run into vampire Damian Wayne, and he's like, I'm your best shot at stopping them. So he's kind of like Blade in this storyline, where he's a vampire, but he's there to stop all the other vampires. Like, he's one who's able to kind of resist for whatever reason. I don't know what the key is. Maybe it has something to do with the Lazarus Pits, because I know the Lazarus Pits are a cure for vampirism, unless you throw somebody into the pit and then it affects the whole thing. But if somebody gets injected with Lazarus resin, then it seemingly is kind of a cure for all that. So maybe he has some sort of built-up immunity. I don't exactly know how he's able to do it, because he was able to even help, like, Kate Kane Batwoman at some point. But just the way it's all kind of comes together has been rather interesting. And it's been an exciting storyline. The art's pretty good. The stakes are really high. And it just keeps you kind of guessing with each issue of how it's all going to turn out and who's going to, like, turn and who's good, who's bad, what allegiance does every character lie on. Even if you have a knowledge of the DC universe, you don't exactly know which direction it's going to go in. And that's exciting to me. There's a nice thrill when I read each issue of the series. And it's much like Deceased, although I feel like I've been kind of more enjoying DC versus Vampires rather than like the last few issues of Deceased. Like Deceased 2 and 3, so at least so far, like, I don't think have been as entertaining to read for me as DC versus Vampires, mostly because with Vampires, a little bit more clever. They're quick thinking. It keeps you, like I said, the stakes and suspense are there, but it leaves you in a lot of different misdirections. And I think with undead zombies, it's like, okay, just undead zombies. It's easy to see who the threat is. But with DC versus Vampires, you don't exactly know who's on whose side, and I think that makes for a very exciting story. So I once again enjoyed the issue. I've enjoyed pretty much every issue of DC versus Vampires. All Out War is kind of the weaker one. Mostly, I think a lot of that has to do with the art style being black and white and such, and kind of takes you out of it a bit. And I just think the main story is just a little bit more exciting. But good stuff. Good stuff all around. If you have any thoughts on it, let me know in the comment section down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, and be sure to come back next time. I'll be talking whatever it is I talk about next time. So look forward to all that fun stuff. All right, well, that's all I have to say. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and we'll see you all in the next video. Peace.